Oh, there you are. I'm Charlie Pickering. Welcome to The Weekly. In a week, ABC finance reporter Alan Kohler gave us some sombre news about the recession with the longest zoom I've ever seen in my entire life.
What is happening to our economy? And when will things get back to normal? That's something on everybody's mind.
Where are you?
And this is no ordinary recession. It's the worst in 90 years. So as Australia tries to bounce back from the pandemic, how long will this severe economic downturn last?
Well, it won't be forever, Alan. Don't jump. It's been a big week. Let's get into it. After a branch stacking scandal rocked the Victorian government last week, what Premier Daniel Andrews really needed this week was a distraction. Unfortunately for him, he got one, thanks to a fresh spike in Victoria's coronavirus cases.
There are 27 new confirmed cases around the country today, 25 of them in Victoria.
The number of visitors allowed in a home will be revised down from 20 to 5.
Terrible news for my Motown tribute band, the Jackson 20. Do we have a photo of the guys? Yeah, probably best in the current climate. So, how did the state, with the country's toughest lockdown measures, get so down with the sickness? It wasn't rallies, parties or pubs, it was families.
The Premier blames irresponsible family groups for all our problems.
Half of all of our new cases have come from family-to-family transmission. I'm frustrated by it, I'm disappointed by it. We have even had people who have tested positive and have been told to go home and isolate, and instead they have gone to work. Instead, they have gone and visited loved ones.
Yeah, that's my fault. Mum said to bring something to family dinner and all I had was the Roni. It was bad news for Dan, but at least as a fellow Essendon Bombers fan, we could both settle in, watch the footy and finally take our minds off the virus.
The AFL has postponed tomorrow's clash between Essendon and Melbourne after bomber Conor McKenna tested positive to COVID-19.
OK, that's also bad, but this is definitely the most relaxed I've been about a Bombers player testing positive. And after watching McKenna spit and Bushmans blow his way through training on Friday, at least the tracers will know who to test next. That guy, that guy, that guy, those guys, and anyone who marks that ball. In a month when all the talk around the world has been about racial equality, Sunrise took a great step forward this week and took a stand against discrimination.
Our next guest claims he was refused entry at a bar because of his haircut.
Now, Cooper Allen sports a pretty mean mullet, but last Friday, the 18-year-old's first night out on the town with the boys was suddenly cut short.
It's a tragic story. An 18-year-old man cut down in the prime of his hair. Koshy was keen to give this man back his humanity and show the world that mullet lives matter.
Freshly 18, wearing pluggers and this bush chook tee, the apprentice Sparky was pumped for his first night out.
You see, Sunrise gets it. They know that discrimination isn't something that you can make just disappear like an Indigenous protest.
The show's producers were able to blank them out by running a recorded backdrop.
So Nat Barr dug deep to find out where all this discrimination began.
So this is mullet discrimination. Have you ever had problems with your mullet before?
Nah, not anything. I've had it since October last year and nothing's come up yet, so it's the first one.
But one time is one time too many. Most heartbreaking was Cooper's painful explanation of how this wanton persecution trampled his mullet's strong cultural tradition.
Peer pressure from the footy boys, you know, get behind you and trim the hair up, change it up a little, look a bit fierce on the field.
Yes, and my respects to the ancient culture of, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Can boys. It's beautiful language. Thank you for bringing this story to us, Sunrise, and hopefully they'll think twice about what kind of standards they're upholding at the bar called El Grotto. It'll be a little less business up front, a little more party in the back. To world news, and years of tensions between China and India over a disputed region high up in the Himalayas boiled over this week, with soldiers from both sides clashing in a deadly fight at night over the mountains in sub-zero temperatures, which sounds hardcore enough. But thanks to a 1996 agreement not to use guns along the border, the conflict went full Game of Thrones.
A fight broke out using clubs, bats, rocks. Indian soldiers were pushed into freezing rivers.
Yeah, you can see why they didn't want guns there. We'd hate for things to escalate. Although if China has shown us anything lately, it's the damage that can be done by a bat. Following the fracas, the Chinese government issued a warning that was controlled and concise.
Do not cross the border. do not provoke trouble.
On Indian TV, they were saying pretty much the same thing too, just not in those words.
Viewers, devious China. Devious China has broken the peace after 45 years. The Chinese are insecure and they resort to cowardice. We will stand toe to toe and we will pull your eyes out if it comes to it.
Terrible solution. Without eyes, they're even more likely to accidentally cross the border. And it didn't end there.
And if they create a warlike situation, we will have to go all out and give them a very bloody nose. We will have to hit them where it will really hurt the Chinese. And trust me, we know where that is.
Yeah, he means right in the Himalayas. And if you don't believe India is serious about hitting China where it hurts, following the attack, Indian PM Narendra Modi deliberately didn't wish Chinese President Xi Jinping a happy birthday. Cop that, Xi. Who's a jolly good fellow now? Not you, mate. Next up, who would win a fight between the Commander-in-Chief of the greatest military history has ever known?
We've done a great job.
And nature's most brutal force, teenagers. It had been a tough week for US President Donald Trump. He had protests in the streets, a virus in the air.
We now have over 2.3 million Americans infected.
And was behind in the polls to a man so old his first term might well be called Weekend at Biden's.
And I'm going to beat Joe Biden.
So he decided to hold a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma to cheer himself up. And it was going to be huge.
The campaign has actually received over 1 million ticket requests for President Trump's first Make America Great Again rally.
Aren't you worried about people getting sick?
No, because if you look, the numbers are very minuscule compared to what it was. It's dying out. We're doing temperature checks. We're doing a lot of different things. I think we're giving out face masks. We had over 1 million people apply. They have people now, days ahead, lined up. They have big lines of people. Over 1 million people tried to get tickets to the event. It's like a record-setting crowd. We've never had an empty seat, and we certainly won't in Oklahoma.
But then we certainly did in Oklahoma.
Inside the arena, empty seats. Outside, the overflow area torn down.
That room is not full. That arena is not full. The outside, empty. They couldn't even get 19,000 people there.
They're lost because Donald put on quite a show. He bragged about how he walks down ramps.
It had no handrail. It was like an ice skating rink.
Bragged about the shoes he wears to walk down ramps.
Because I'm wearing leather bottom shoes, which is good if you're walking on flat surfaces. It's not good for ramps.
And in an impressive, borderline superhuman display, he took a sip from a glass of water. So what kept the Trump fans away? Turns out it was partly due to a legion of young online activists, including fans of K-pop and users of TikTok. Now, what is K-pop and what is TikTok? I don't know. But what I do know is they tricked Trump into thinking he was far more popular than he is.
A group of TikTok teenagers say that they basically flooded the campaign website, encouraging thousands of people to register for this event and then not show up.
He was played by young people and K-pop fans who ordered tickets with no intention of going. They got played by teenagers.
Oh my God, I just registered for Trump's rally and I'm so excited to not go. Go register, fill up those seats, but don't go because this guy.
Yes, it takes a teen to know the most brutal thing you can do is RSVP to someone's party and then not show up. But this is Donald Trump we're talking about. Surely he's not about to be defeated by some meddling kids like an amusement park owner in Scooby-Doo.
It looked like he felt defeated as he was walking out of Marine One.
My understanding is that he did feel defeated.
He would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids. Sad. And in a spooky turn of events, Senator Bob Katter rocked up to Parliament dressed as the last thing North Queenslanders see after they're torn to pieces by a crocodile.
I'm very angry.
Yes, we know, we've met you before. Grim, angry Bob then turned the halls of power into a catwalk.
Hold it, yeah. That's it, that's very ominous. Very threatening.
Yes, that's it, baby. Take a soul, reap a soul. The camera loves you, you big weirdo. So, with Katter looking like death, the rest of us were left to ask, go on, why?
Mr. Katter, can you explain why you're dressed as the Grim Reaper today?
Well, there's the answers. Free market equals Australia's car crash. Holden onto Aussie jobs.
Well, he clearly put more effort into the costumes than the craft work. Can anyone tell me what this was actually about?
MP Bob Catter dressed as the Grim Reaper protesting the closure of Holden.
As far as Grim Reapers go, you look the part. What are you doing this for?
We had a procession of the Holdens, Australia's own car. The industry has been closed down as a direct result of government action and inaction.
Oh, OK, so the Grim Reaper wants Holden cars back. That must mean they've been death traps. Good thing they were shut down. Thanks for the timely warning, Bob. And that's the week.